Good evening, everybody, and welcome. I'm Senator Sean Ryan. I'm the co-chair of the Economic Development Subcommittee, and I'm honored to co-chair this subcommittee with my colleague, Assemblymember Al Sturpey. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the following members of the subcommittee. We have Senator Joe Addabbo, Senator James Sanders, Senator Andrew Granardis, Senator Michelle Hinchey, Senator George Borrello, and Senator Stephen Chan. I'll now turn it over to Assemblymember Al Sturpey, the co-chair, to give opening remarks and to introduce the Assembly members.
Thank you, Sean. My hope is we'll all work together to achieve a number of wins for business this year in the budget and take care of some issues such as the frequency of pay lawsuits by clarifying the law, addressing the unemployment insurance trust fund debt issue, and staying focused in economic development areas like semiconductor manufacturing, unmanned aerial systems, and biosciences that have proven to be winners for New York over the past 5 to 10 years. I'd like to introduce the other members of the Assembly. Assembly members Kerry Warner, Marianne Buttonshaw, Steve Otis, Jordan's not here, Aaron Weeder, and Christopher Friend's not here, but member Daniel Norber. Okay.
All right, thank you, Co-Chair Sturpey. I'll go over the Joint Budget Subcommittee guidelines. Co-Chair shall determine all matters of parliamentary procedure unless otherwise specified by the rules. Any dispute with regard to the procedure that cannot be resolved by the co-chairs shall be referred back to the General Conference Committee and shall be resolved by the co-chairs of the General Conference Committee. Co-chairs shall each designate a staff person to serve as a secretary for the purpose of taking minutes. An alternative may participate in any subcommittee meetings but shall not vote upon any deliberations of such subcommittee unless he or she has been designated to fill an excused vacancy in such subcommittee. Such designation shall be made by the co-chair of the General Conference Committee representing the House in which the excused vacancy exists. If such vacancy is in a minority seat on the subcommittee, then the recommendation shall be made upon the recommendation of the respective House minority representative of the General Conference Committee. Such designation shall be made as soon as practicable by the appropriate co-chair by providing notice to the other co-chair of the General Conference Committee. An excused absence from the General Conference Committee may be filled with the temporary designation of a member by the co-chair of the General Conference Committee representing the House in which the excused vacancy exists. No subcommittee or alternative member shall be permitted to participate via proxy. Subcommittees shall restrict the deliberations to their respective subject areas as determined by the General Conference Committee. Any issues which are determined to be non-germane by the co-chairs shall be referred back to the General Conference Committee. Each member shall be permitted a reasonable period of time as determined by the co-chairs to discuss any matters germane to the subject area of the subcommittee. No report shall be filed except upon the affirmative vote of a majority of the members of each House's delegation of the subcommittee. The Assembly and the Senate each designate a recorder secretary for the purpose of taking minutes, and the Senate designates Sean O'Brien.
The Assembly designates Deborah Jenkins. The following agencies will be discussed at the Economic Development Joint Conference Committee: Alcohol Beverage Control Board, the Department of Economic Development, Urban Development Corporation, and New York State Gaming Commissions. Are there any additional statements anyone would like to make?
On the Senate side, are there any questions? We'll start really to my right with Senator Addabbo. Do you have anything?
Just really quick, I want to thank the public for showing. I want to thank my colleagues for their work along the next couple of weeks with this budget. We have the opportunity of helping New Yorkers, and as Chair of the Racing Gaming Wagering Committee, we have the opportunity of helping New Yorkers with their gaming addiction and to help equine care. So I do look forward to working with my colleagues. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Any other senators? Senator Sanders, Senator Granado, Senator Borrello? Oh, Senator Sanders.
I just want to thank the co-chairs and thank the public. This is very important. It's, at the end of everything, it's a question of people. It's not simply a question of bricks and mortars and things of that nature, but people will benefit from what we do, and I trust that we will keep that in mind. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Sanders. Senator Borrello.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for being here, and I want to really associate myself with the comments by Chair Sturpey with regard to addressing some very important issues to business owners, of which I am one in New York State. The unemployment insurance debt, which has been crushing for our businesses, and this frequency of pay issue, which has already shut down businesses in New York State. You know, I spent 10 years in county government, much of that time as chair of the Economic Development Committee in the county legislature, on the IDA board, and as county executive. And I can tell you that economic development in New York State is very difficult, because when we use every tool in our toolbox, essentially all we can do is level the playing field when states like Pennsylvania do literally nothing. So we have to figure out a way to raise the bar for everyone. New York State ranks the lowest in the Alec Laffer State Economic Competitiveness Index. We are the last, 50 out of 50. That's a problem. It's a problem because New York State is shedding jobs and businesses almost daily. We have seen even the major financial institutions, the things that were the bedrock of New York State and New York City, are deciding to leave, even recommending that their employees leave. This is an issue that cannot be solved in one budget. It needs to be a systemic change to the way that we do business here in New York State. And that's my concern. We are not doing anything to address these issues, the issues that burden every business owner, every family, and in fact, we are making things worse, not better, because we are on a collision course with our climate agenda here that is going to do things like cancel the most affordable forms of energy, like natural gas. How are we going to attract the next big business when they can't even guarantee that they're going to have the power necessary, the energy needed to be able to perform the tasks that are going to keep jobs here and make New York State, continue to make New York State an economic giant? So I have issues, but I am hopeful when I see some of these issues that have been addressed in this budget, things that, quite frankly, the governor chose not to address, like the unemployment insurance debt, when she had the opportunity to do so with the billions of dollars from the federal government that flowed into New York State. And we're not, like most other states, were not used to fill that gigantic gap in the unemployment insurance debt. So while I think these things should be addressed, I am certainly more favorable to the Assembly's version of this and not the Senate's version, which is more of a shell game. Actually just pay down the debt. About $6.5 billion left, let's just pay it off. Unlike this, well, somebody can apply, grant, this number of employees, and so forth. I can tell you that my fellow business owners, organizations like the NFIB, which I'm a member of, the New York State Restaurant Association, which I'm a member of, they're at their wits' end. And it's incumbent upon this legislature and this government to take their boot off the neck of New York State businesses so that this state can thrive. We'll see if we can do it, at least partially in this budget, but most importantly, we need to have a change of attitude here in Albany. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Borrello, and I'm happy to hear that you remain hopeful. Any other senators wishing to say hello? Senator Hinchey?
How do you follow that? Thank you, Senator Borrello. I'll just quickly say, I think there's a lot of really exciting things in this budget, especially from an economic development perspective. We do have a lot to do, but just the other week I was talking with a business from New Jersey that was actually relocating to New York and moving their families because of policies that we've done here in the state, specifically around craft beverage and in the ag space. And so there's exciting opportunities on the horizon, but we are never done. And in this budget, specifically as it pertains for agriculture, we are closing some of the loopholes, including fixing the overtime tax credit that we passed for our dairy farmers. And so we're hopeful that that stays in, and expanding the workforce retention tax credit and extending the farm workforce retention credit, which is both really important programs, two really important programs for our agricultural community, as well as investing in our arts and cultural scenes in communities in smaller rural areas across the state. And so I'm excited about the negotiations and discussions that we'll have coming up and look forward to getting to a final budget that supports the entire state. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hinchey. Yes, Senator.
Good afternoon. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. So I'm a new senator representing South Brooklyn, still learning my trade, but I'm a pretty fast learner. Being a small businessman myself for 10 years in my district, as well as being a police officer of 27 years, so I know a little bit about law enforcement, and I know a little bit about small business. In fact, I'm also a small landlord. With that said, a couple of weeks ago, I was at one of the budget hearings, and I was asking Commissioner Knight of Empire State Development, what have we done to attract businesses? I have a district full of skilled labor, trainable, hardworking. There's nothing they would love to see more than a company like Toyota to come into New York and open a plant in Newburgh. They would put car doors on cars all day long, 6 days a week, just so they can earn that $35, $40 an hour, so they can build an American dream up in Newburgh where they can afford a home and afford to raise a family. Not like South Brooklyn, where homes are going for $1.4, $1.5 million for any shabby house that's on the market today. So, with that said, why isn't Toyota or Honda or GM or Ford over here in New York building cars? Because we don't have a business-friendly environment. They would rather build it in Ohio or Marysville, Maryland, Indiana, and ship that car to the Northeast. Most of their cars, by the way, are sold in the Northeast. There's nothing they would love to do more than build it right here so they don't have to ship it that far. We have to make it friendly for them. The last time we made business friendly for Amazon headquarters, we chased them away. So that wasn't the right thing to do either. So small businesses, I live intimately with my neighbors in my neighborhood of Bensonhurst, Gravesend, Bath Beach, Sunset Park, Bay Ridge. And everybody that I talk to, there's a lot of small business owners, retail stores that's operating on razor-thin profit margins. They can't even afford to turn on the heat or the air conditioning. It's because of shrinkage. They lose a lot of merchandise to retail theft. And the fact that both houses omitted the discovery law amendments in their budget, in their versions of the budget, is very disappointing. It doesn't help the police officers do their jobs. We need to help our law enforcement community. I know as a cop, as an active cop myself, I love to help the community. That's it. That's what I did. I lock up the bad guys, I'll be honest here. And that's what we have to do. And instead of my local supermarket, this Key Food supermarket, three blocks from my house, I talked to the manager. They lose hundreds of dollars of merchandise a day to theft. So I would like to see the amendments to discovery laws put back into our budgets, both the House and the Assembly.
We're trying to keep comments to 3 minutes. So,
Okay, thank
Senator,
you.
if you
Thank
could
you
do
very
that,
much.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much for your comments, Senator Chan. And I would hand it back over to Assemblymember Sturpey to see if there's any Assembly members who want to comment.
Yeah, I think we do have a few. Assemblyman Warner.
Thank you, Chair Sturpey and Chair Ryan, for your hard work so far and your leadership as we go through the next 2 weeks. I am looking forward to working with my colleagues to craft a budget that supports the job creators in our state. We have really exciting things happening in New York, from the innovation economy, the semiconductor businesses that have built up here and are moving here, to the biotechnology companies, and of course, small businesses and our legacy manufacturing businesses that continue to produce great products here in New York State. And I'm excited that this budget supports their efforts. And I look forward to working together as we move forward to ensure that we're taking care of those businesses that are the job creators. Thank you very much.
Mary Ann.
Thank you to the chairs and to my colleagues and staff for the hard work, and more importantly, from our small businesses that provided input into this budget. As chair of the small business, I support the comments that were made in regards to the importance of the review of the unemployment insurance that is devastating many. But clearly, looking at the optimism and excitement that we will see not only for the agricultural industry, but so many of our small businesses that rely and provide so much to our economy. I also own a small business myself and understand the challenges. So again, I appreciate the work that has taken place and the work that we will complete in the next 2 weeks to ensure that small businesses can thrive as they are the foundation of our businesses throughout the state of New York. Thank you.
Mr. Otis.
Hi, all. I am chair of the Assembly Committee on Science and Technology, and one of the exciting things in this budget is the continued growth, bringing jobs, bringing manufacturing, semiconductors, microchip manufacturing. Our Chair Sturpey has been a big leader in this area. And so the forecast when we had the budget hearing on economic development was Empire State Development has plans for attracting more businesses in those fields and to grow on that success. We have centers for excellence, centers for advanced technology. Today, we had a visit from our SUNY major campuses having to do with what they're doing in the innovation space. A lot of good stuff in this budget. We're going to build on it through the next few weeks, but there is good news ahead, and we are attracting innovation, jobs, technology. When you speak to business owners, what they tell you, why do you expand in New York? You expand in New York because we have an educated workforce better than most states, and so that's why they're choosing here rather than other states for a lot of this high-tech work. Thank you, chairs.
Want to go? Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for letting me speak on behalf of the Assembly Minority Conference. As an owner of a business for the past few years, small business in New York, I experience firsthand the struggles that we as businesses have all the time in terms of labor costs, services costs, resources, taxes. It used to be a point where in New York, you would open up a business, you would thrive, you would do well. It would be a method by which you would have upward mobility. But now, the more you expand, the harder it is to survive. I see that, not just myself, I see that in businesses in my area. I represent Long Island, Nassau County, which used to be a thriving place where a lot of business were attracted to expand over there. But now you only see storefronts which are shuttered down. There was a burger shop in my area. I'm just going to tell a few quick stories. I went to visit there. She used to tell me that I used to do very well, but now when I visited, all she's doing is she's the cashier and she's the cook and she does everything. And I ask her, how are you managing to do all these things all by yourself? And she says that she has no choice. I mean, if she wants to make a few extra dollars, she has to do everything by herself. And that's the kind of climate that we're living in right now. Instead of helping these businesses, we're also hurting businesses by not protecting businesses that are experiencing theft on a regular basis. Just another quick story. Steak shop that makes the best steaks in the area in Long Island that I know of. Every Friday he prepares them in the morning. But then there's somebody who comes over there every morning, Friday, and just steals whatever he wants. He gets to the point where he tells him, next Friday when I come visit, I want you to make sure there's less mustard. So, and nobody's protecting him, and we need to do more for these businesses which are suffering. It used to be that New York was the business capital of the world. We're nothing close to that at all. Businesses are leaving to other states where it's better. Wall Street is going to Dallas, Texas. We know that as a fact, and that means a lot. So if Wall Street leaves, then we might lose a lot more businesses, and we just can't continue living like this in New York State. So we have to do more, and we will do more. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. We look forward to working with the Assembly and the Executive on increasing vital funding for the Centers for Excellence, Centers for Advanced Technology, continuing our manufacturer extension partnership program, and trying to continue our efforts for minority and women-owned businesses while putting a concentration on local tourism through matching grants. Assemblymember Sturpey.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to improving conditions for businesses in New York and hopefully achieving an on-time budget. So thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.